Hello everybody and welcome to Chapter 4, Lesson 2, Solving Quadratic Equations by Graphing. The essential question is, how can you use a graph to solve a quadratic equation in one variable? What we're going to learn is how to solve a quadratic equation by graphing. In Chapter 3, we learned how to graph a quadratic function in standard form, vertex form, and intercept form. So our steps to solving a quadratic equation by graphing is to first write the equation in standard form. Make sure that we have our standard form equation equal to 0. Once we have that, we can graph the related function, meaning we're going to take that left side of our equation and create a function of y with it. It's going to give us a graph. And then step 3 is to find the x-intercepts, if there are any. All right, so here is our very first equation that we're going to be solving. So we have the quadratic equation x to the power of 2 plus 2x is equal to 3. So what we're going to do is step 1, we're going to rewrite this equation so that it is in standard form. So standard form means that we have to put it all the terms on the left side and set the equation equal to 0. So in order for this equation to equal 0, I have to subtract or remove the 3 and move it over to the left side. So that's going to give us x to the power of 2 plus 2x minus 3, and that's going to be equal to 0. Okay, so now we have this in standard form. So I'm going to type that over here. X to the power of 2 plus 2x minus 3 equals 0. Okay, so that was step 1. That's what we decided was, we were told that was step 1. Step 2 is to write the function. Write the equation as a function of y. So write the related equation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all the left side of the equation and I'm going to write that right here as a function of y. So basically I'm just writing the same exact thing without the 0. Okay. So then once I type that in, that's going to give me this graph. Okay. And our step 3 is to identify the x-intercepts, if we have any. So that's actually what's the last piece of the question is asking us here. Whoops. Is that x is equal to the x-intercept. So we need the x-intercept. So we're going to look at our graph here. We're going to see that our graph crosses the x-axis at 2 points right here, which are -3 and +1. So those are our x-intercepts, -3, 0, and +1, 0. So then that means that our solutions are x equals -3, and x is equal to +1. So the solutions to a quadratic equation are the x-intercepts of that equation written in standard form. So once we put it in standard form and we graph our equation, okay, the 2 points where, or the points where the quadratic function, the parabola, pass through the x-axis, those are the solutions to our quadratic equation. Okay, so if we see this graph here, we have three different parabolas, and all three are slightly different. So if we look at our f of x function, the red function, we can see that this graph passes the x-axis, crosses the x-axis at 2 different points. So this graph will have 2 solutions. Both of the numbers where the parabola crosses the x-axis. So the solutions for f of x would be -1 and +2. The blue one, g of x, only crosses the x-axis at one point, at the vertex. So this one will only have one solution. So this one will have a solution of x equals positive 6 because it only crosses the x-axis at one point. And if we take a look at the green function does not cross the x-axis. It does touch the y-axis, but that's not going to help us find the solutions to the function. So because h of x does not cross the x-axis, we say that it has no real solutions. Okay. Doesn't let me type in a space, but no real solutions because it does not cross the x-axis. All right, so we should know, okay, that a quadratic equation will have two real solutions when the graph has two x-intercepts. The quadratic equation will have one real solution when the graph has one x-intercept. And the quadratic equation will have no real solutions when the graph has no x-intercepts. That is the end of our lesson. You should have learned how to solve a quadratic equation by graphing, how to determine what the solutions of a quadratic equation are by graphing, and when a quadratic equation has two, one, or no real solutions based on some aspects of that graph. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to drop them in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.